Hi everyone, Joy here, and today I'm going to be talking about internalized homophobia, transphobia, biphobia, etc, etc. So before I get started on that topic, I just want to say one thing. It's quite likely and quite possible that in this day and age that you, the viewer, have heard about homophobia and transphobia. So let's first of all define what those actually mean. So those words mean a prejudice or a bigotry of or towards people of that particular group. So homophobia means that prejudice or bigotry towards homosexual people. Just as an example. And biphobia is about bisexual people, transphobia about trans people. You get it, right? And so on, etc. and so weiter. Now, there are people who will disagree and argue against this, and their semi-logical argument is stating something like, well, a phobia means a fear of something, and I'm not afraid of gay people. I just think they're evil / dirty / wrong / immoral / sinners. Now, for the record, those people who make that kind of dubiously shitty argument, they are pernickety and facetious cunts. These words mean what they mean because they are used in common parlance as such. And any resistance to this is an attempt at obfuscating what the real issue is. And to get around this, one could, for the sake of argument, substitute another kind of word like homosexism, or like for people who are sexist against homosexuals, or transsexism for people who are sexist against trans people. But this is just confusing, and for the sake of simplicity, rather than any other kind of, bowing to this pressure, in this video and in all videos, I will use the commonly agreed upon terms and, not give in to the shitlords, because why? Why bother? So with that out of the way, I want to move on to the real heart of the topic here, the internalized part. So what does that mean? Well, let's say, take, for example, a trans person who is experiencing some feeling of internalized transphobia. Now, obviously, this doesn't mean that they are acting discriminatory to themselves. I mean, a person can't say, well, I ban me from this establishment for being transgender. It's nonsensical, and it just doesn't work that way. What it actually means, the internalization comes from the attitudes and experiences observed of other people towards the marginalized identity in question. And in this case, in this example, trans people. It's not difficult to find examples where trans people are discriminated against. But anyway, internalized transphobia, homophobia, biphobia, etc., these can all manifest in many different ways. So, trying to convince oneself that one is not that particular identity, trying to belittle those people who are open about having that identity, or even those that aren't and are just perceived as such. Overcompensating for any perceived similarity between the individual and the marginalized identity group. Thinking that certain harmful and discriminatory behaviours and or actions towards people of that identity are acceptable, which they are not. A refusal to come out because of the fear of what other people might think, whether those people actually think those negative things or not. Relying on negative stereotypes in order to pigeonhole people. Thinking offensive jokes are acceptable/funny. Again, and so on, etc. und so weiter. All of these things are a barrier to personal growth and acceptance and happiness and societal betterment. And a lot of these things are, it's the little hurts that go unnoticed, because they are so deeply imprinted into the psyche. And the only way to undo this kind of damage is self-reflection and self-awareness. And, I mean, remember that homophobia and biphobia and transphobia and any prejudice of any kind is a learned behaviour. Therefore, it can be unlearned. The same cannot be said for homosexuality or bisexuality, etc. I mean, the only way, in a healthy way, to best deal with those things is to just accept oneself as whichever identity in question or identities in question that one falls under. It is something that you must just learn to deal with and accept, because there is no way of unlearning a sexuality or a gender. There is no way of doing so in a healthy way. For example, what's been called conversion therapy is unhealthy. It's been proven and it's been commented by doctors, by all kinds of world organizations, by pretty much every psychologist that is trained, that those methods are harmful because they cause these kinds of negative thinking in society, because they cause negative thinking in the individuals who cannot accept themselves or other people. And these things manifest, if they don't go untreated, these bad thoughts manifest in much more harmful ways than if somebody just accepted who they are. However, even then, after coming to terms with who and what you are, there's still a struggle to overcome the internalized feelings. Those remain a bit like a hangover from a person's upbringing into adulthood. So being LGBT+, but still expecting and thinking that this identity that you have is somehow inferior or deserving of ridicule, or, not calling out other people's BS or bullying, and just sort of standing by and allowing that to happen because that's what someone has been brought up with. Those negative attitudes, thinking that that's okay, is it's not something that's so easily undone. There is no magic cure-all, and being unable to help to stop these harmful thinking patterns that one's been brought up with and grown up with for so long, but have been embedded for so long by intolerant people within society and within intolerant societies themselves. So dealing with that and unlearning that is a hard habit to break, but not impossible. Unfortunately, I can't really demonstrate how to do it. that's all I've got for this topic. I really just wanted to explain what it is for those people that didn't know. And unfortunately, I don't really have much more of a positive ending, because there is no one-size-fits-all kind of way to deal with that. With any kind of negative behaviour or thinking pattern, though, therapy can definitely help. But if anyone has any methods or any kind of advice that they've heard over the years of how to overcome internalized prejudices, please leave a respectful comment below. That's it from me. Thanks for listening. See you next time. Bye.